Hey everybody, in this video we are going to solve equations using multiplication and division. So just like solving equations with addition and subtraction, there are some properties of equality that we can use to help us. So we've got the multiplication property of equality, which says that if you multiply both sides of an equation by the same value, those two sides of the equation remain equal. And the division property of equality says that if you divide both sides of an equation by the same value, those two sides of the equation remain equivalent. So for example, right, 15 equals 15, obviously. Now if we were to multiply both of these by 2, right, we know that 15 times 2 is 30, and 15 times 2 is 30, so these remain equal. And if we were to divide both of these by 5, 30 divided by 5 is 6, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. So again, we can see both the the multiplication property of equality and the division property of equality in action. So let's practice a few. So here we have x over 3 equals negative 6. So right now if we look at this, right, x over 3, that's x divided by 3. So again, we always want to do the inverse operation. We want to undo that dividing by 3. So the opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. So on both sides of our equation, we're going to multiply by 3. So that's going to give us on the left side of the equation simply x. And on the right side of the equation, negative 6 times 3 would be negative 18. And as always, we can check our answer. Negative 18 divided by 3. Does that equal negative 6? And most certainly it does. So we've done that correctly. Let's look at the next one. So here we have 18 equals negative 4y. So this time, y is being multiplied by negative 4. And that's what we want to undo, if you will, this time. So the inverse operation of this multiplication would be division. So we want to divide both sides of our equation by negative 4. So we know on the right side of our equation, negative 4y divided by negative 4 is going to equal simply y. And then on the left side of the equation, we have 18 divided by negative 4. So you know that's going to be a negative 18 divided by 4. So that's going to give us 4 here. And we get negative 4.5 is equal to y. Looking at this next example, we have x divided by 5 equals negative 2. So again, right, we want to undo that division. We want the inverse operation. So that's going to be multiplying by 5. Okay, another way you can see this if you need to, right? X divided by 5 is a fraction. You could see this as essentially multiplying by 5 over 1. Okay, and what would happen is that's going to give you, right, you can do your simplifying just like you do anytime you multiply fractions. 5 and 5 cancel each other out. They both just become 1s. And that leaves you with simply x. So you can always look at, okay, when I'm multiplying, is there something in the numerator and something in the denominator that can cancel out to equal 1? Because that's going to be our goal. So when we multiply x over 5 by 5, we get simply x. And anything we do on the left side of the equation, we need to do on the right side. So x equals negative 2 times 5, which is negative 10. And again, checking our answer, negative 10 divided by 5 equals negative 2. So we are good. All right, this next one, we have negative a equals negative 24. So this one is pretty quick, actually. But, right, if we have negative a, and we want that to equal positive a, we can kind of see this two ways. Okay, the easiest is to simply say, okay, negative a means negative 1 times a. So if I want to undo that, I need to divide by negative 1. So negative a divided by negative 1, and negative 24 divided by negative 1. Negative a divided by negative 1 is positive a. And negative 24 divided by negative 1 is positive 24. And you'll begin to see this pattern, right? If negative a equals negative 24, then positive a equals positive 24. Finally, we have negative 4/5 x equals negative 8. Okay, and once again, we want to undo that negative 4/5 times x. So you could see this as, okay, I'm multiplying by negative 4/5, so I need to divide by negative 4/5. And that's totally correct. We can also just immediately see and remember that dividing by negative 4/5 is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal, right? And that would be the inverse operation. Remember, a reciprocal is also called a multiplicative inverse. So if we multiply here by negative 5/4, again, you'll see that same thing I talked about in example C. You've got your 5 and 5 that cancel out to be 1s, and you've got your 4 and 4, which cancel out to be 1s. And then you'll notice you've got negative 1 times negative 1 over 1 times 1. And that negative times negative, you're going to get simply a positive 1 times x. So here we have just x. And on the right side, we also need to multiply by negative 5/4. And you can see that would give us 40/4, which simplifies to simply 10. If you wanted to check your answer here, negative 4/5 times x, which is 10, should be equal to negative 8. And that would give you negative 40 divided by 5, which is indeed equal to negative 8.